All eyes are on Giants GM Joe Schoen heading into the offseason after a heck of a run by the G-Men this season. Does he re-sign some of his current playmakers? And what weapons could he bring in to add to the roster? New York Post's Mike Vaccaro has an article on the Post website titled "Joe Schoen Has to Be Cold-Blooded for the Giants to Take a Critical Next Step." Now, before we get into how cold-blooded he has to be, Mike, first and foremost, thanks for joining us. But how would you grade Joe Schoen's first season as Giants GM?
Good to be with you, Brandon. I would give it a solid A. I really would. I mean, he had a terrific draft. I think everybody would agree he hired the right coach, Brian Daboll. And you know what? He wasn't taken in by how well the Giants played. He didn't make any silly deadline deals. Didn't ransom the future to try and win a couple extra games this year. Didn't get involved in the Odell Beckham Jr. drama, which I think was a wise thing. And so he has all of his pieces and all of his ducks in a row to go into the offseason and really have an impact and help bring the Giants to the next level. I think he had a tremendous year.
Yeah, when you talk about not signing Odell and not getting caught up in the trade deadline, he brought in Isaiah Hodgins. In the article you wrote, it fit in the overall picture perfectly, like Kirstie Alley joining the cast of Cheers. I love it. So one of the big questions, obviously, or questions he has to deal with this offseason, does he re-sign or extend Daniel Jones and Saquon? What do you think he's going to do and why?
Look, I think Daniel Jones is a no-brainer only because there are only so many quarterbacks in the league. Unless you have a sleeper that you are really high on in the draft that you think you can get. And don't forget, the Giants aren't drafting as high as they normally draft this year. And you look around the league and see the quarterbacks who are available. I think Daniel Jones showed a lot of upside this year. I think that the partnership between him and Daboll showed that he really should be a foundational part of the Giants, and the quarterback is the hardest position to identify and to get. So to me, I think that's a no-brainer. Saquon is a little bit more difficult, only because, unless he's willing to, and he said yesterday that he was not looking to reset the market, which is a good sign for the Giants. If he was looking to get every nickel, then I think that his chances of staying a Giant would be limited because, look, I mean, they really do have other pieces they have to improve. It would be great to be able to find a way to get Saquon, to keep Saquon here on on a hometown discount or a hometown friendly deal. And if they can do that, then he'll be back. If, like I said, if what he really wants to be able to be paid, that might not happen here. We'll have to see how that develops.
Yeah, if they could get those two on hometown discounts, that'd be great because they have a lot of holes on this roster, a lot of position groups to address. So what other position groups do you think the Giants need to address? And do you think that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen has built enough of a culture to where they can land some of the NFL's top free agents?
Well, that's a great question, and I think they have. I think this is an attractive place to play now. Maybe it hasn't been so the last couple of years. And I think, look, when you're talking about, especially free agents, number one is they want to get paid. But number two is they want to get paid and they want to come into a situation where they know they can win and succeed. I think the Giants have proven that they know what they're doing because they took a 5-win team and they won 9 games with them. And the future is really limitless when you think of it in those terms. So to me, I think what the Giants need to do is they obviously need to strengthen their receivers core. Daniel Jones did what he did this year with a mediocre at best receiving core. All due respect to guys like Hodgins and guys who really stepped up this year, but you really need to strengthen and deepen the talent pool among Daniel Jones's weapons. And look, the defense, which played very well for long stretches of the season, was still short and still thin. There were 3 guys in that defense that started on Sunday who weren't even in the league at the beginning of the year. And all honor to them for having played as well as they did. But look, the NFL is a talent league. And as many good stories as there were on the Giants this year, a lot of those good stories are going to be recruited over in the coming couple of months if the Giants are going to get better.
NFL's a talent league, and talent wants to get paid. So let's talk about the salary cap. How much money do the Giants have in the cap to sign some of the players?
Well, I think a lot of that's going to have to depend. You start with Saquon and Daniel Jones. I mean, those are obviously the 2 focal points. And once you get a figure on how much they're going to cost you, then you'll get a better idea what you'll be able to spend. But look, the Giants have the second or third most available salary cap numbers now. Now, that doesn't include raises, include what they're going to do with the players they have now. But they should, and that's part of the thing that Joe Schoen has to keep in mind is that he has to strengthen the overall. And, unfortunately, not every league is Major League Baseball, where if Joe Schoen had Steve Cohen's money to throw around, it might be a little bit different. But he's got to play within the constraints and the rules of the NFL. And that's going to make things a little trickier. But I do think that Giants fans have a lot of faith in this guy. And he's given them a reason to show that, to have that faith because of the year he had this year.
John Mara can't take advantage of that luxury tax, huh? But Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Brent. Take care.